Hello, Shadowrek here. Today I have the most insignificant of videos, but I'm just making this in advance because I know I'm going to get asked constantly and relentlessly about my gear and why I swapped stuff around. So, basically all I did was I did some recrafting and, swapped a verse on my ring, verse on my belt, and then swapped a verse enchants. Only reason I did this was really just to have more versatility for survivability in Mythic Plus. I was looking at the numbers and realized it really didn't make any sense to not swap, because when I pull up a sim here, having swapped that all, it was only minus 11k DPS on single target, which is less than 0.5%, and same thing about 0.5% on AoE. That is the total loss of making that swap, and with that swap I gained around 4% versatility. Not 4%, sorry. Around 4% DR from versatility. I went from like 500 or 400 stat up to 6.1k, which, is 4% from Scars of Suffering, and then I was at like 0.8%. So it went from like 4.8 to 11.8, so actually closer to like 3.5% damage reduction for a 0.4% damage loss. So, in general, just a really good trade to make, and I just did this because when we went through and we were trying some 20s yesterday, it really started to feel noticeable on the damage intake side, and I think it's just more beneficial to drop the very insignificant bit of damage to increase survivability. So, if anyone asks, that is why I did it. And just wanted to make this and get a video made so that I can have this linked anytime it's asked when I'm streaming or when I get pinged with it, because that tends to happen around minor things like this, because it doesn't really make much sense when I don't recommend verse. This is something I'd really only recommend for the highest levels of keys. Again, I'm talking 20s and like 19 priory kind of deal is more what I'm worried about. If you're doing like 15s, anything that you're dying to typically is not anything that would be saved by a few percent of DR, but it's just getting to the point where non-preventable damage and sustain is not enough. So that's really just everything. I might make more swaps this in the future. I might even go more into versatility because, again, the loss just really wasn't that big. But just kind of remains to be seen. Other than that, all I can do for survivability is gain avoidance. So for now, going with this, and if I decide I need more in the future, I either will craft in a more verse or I might run a verse file and keys. But thank you for watching, and have yourself a great day.